Hi and welcome to the channel. Now today's video is going to be about our experience on the Queen Anne, Cunard Queen Anne ship recently. Going to cover as much as everything here: food, gluten free, laundry, where the plug sockets are, all different stuff along the ship, all different rooms and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to cram in as much as possible. I don't want to give too much away because obviously you want to go on that ship and find these things yourself, but just a few handy tips, storage, all that kind of stuff, where to hang your stuff, all bits and bobs. Hopefully going to give you one or two little tips that may make your cruise even better and what to expect as well. So best way I thought of doing it, like I say, is to plonk it up on the screen here. Now a little while ago, nearly 2 years ago, we booked this trip as well. We was on the Queen Mary 2. There it is, the Queen Mary 2, even got the top to prove it. Yeah, so we went on that and we quite liked that trip. That was a great trip, and the more when you come back over the course of a period of time, the more you reflect on it, the better it kind of gets, kind of thing. You think, well, that was a really good trip. And if you look at my video, I'll put a link at the top where I'll give a review of that ship. I'll give it 4 out of 5 back then, and then that's just a nice solid 4 out of 5 because it was a very enjoyable trip, that's for certain. But like I say, we wanted to try the Queen Anne, a new ship in the Cunard fleet. I want to talk about what other people thought of this ship as well, and how they compared it to other ships as well, because it's all going to come up in this video. It's going to be quite a long video, that is the only problem, but hopefully I'm going to squeeze as much in as possible, as quickly as possible. So I'm going to rattle on very fast, hopefully, to get through it all. So this is where we went. This is the cruise we've done. Now I'm probably going to do a follow-up, a little video of telling you our Cunard and a few pictures of what's in them ports. But our Cunard gets you about in them ports, just in case you want to be you want to do everything on your own. Are you worried about, I'm not going to be landed in this port, I'm going to be able to get to certain places and all that kind of stuff. I may do a follow-up video when that comes available. I'll stick a link at the top. You'll see that there now. If it's not there now, then I haven't done it. Okay. So that's the trip we've done. Right, when you come in your room, first of all, I just want to say that we drove to Southampton to pick up the ship the night before and stayed in a little hotel nearby. And you've got an option, we didn't really think about this at the time because we had free parking with Cunard. Because we booked this trip nearly 2 years ago, one of the options there was for free parking and some onboard spending at the same time, which is quite a good deal. You usually get one or the other. So it's up to you. Do you want the extra onboard spending? Please don't forget we've got just a normal cabin, like a porthole kind of thing. You'll see it anyway. It's called a sea view cabin. It's called. This is what we got. It was on deck 1 as well, and it's pretty good. I was quite happy with the cabin we got. Obviously, the higher you go, the better the view and all that kind of stuff. We're going to come into that, maybe talk about just generally maybe later on. But that's the cabin we got, bottom deck kind of thing. Nothing flash or anything like that. But we quite like that cabin. It's quite nice. And you're going to see a picture, not pictures. You're going to see a video of that cabin. Right at the end of this video, there's going to be a couple of videos. One's going to talk about the storage, which I'm going to talk about a bit here as well, just to clarify a few things from that video. And a few things I picked up since doing that video as well. And also you're going to see us walking around the cabin, showing you where the plug sockets are and all that, so you get a gist of what the cabin was like. And it was spacious enough for us too, that's for certain. The only downside was the storage a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit. Talk about that as we go along. Anyway, as I said, we went to Southampton, stayed there. We got the free parking. It was done through CPS. We done a 19-day trip, and we're thinking about doing a 28-day trip, maybe next year or the year after or something like that, just for interest. I did go on their site to find out how much the 28-day parking CPS charge, and as I've looking, I think it was about £340, so that's for 28 days. It may sound a lot, but you can kind of just, as soon as you get there, you give the key to them, they drive your car away, park it up for you, and all you got to do is they take all the cases put on a ship for you, and you ain't got to worry about anything like that. And when you come back, just give you the card and they give you, and they go around and give you your car back. It's all straightforward, very, very quick as well, very, very fast. So, I think it's worth the money. But, if you just want to tighten up your strings a little bit, you may think about maybe parking in an hotel, maybe say to them, we want the hotel for the night, but can we leave the car here for 14, 20 days, whatever your trip is, and they're probably going to charge a bit extra. Not all hotels do that, because obviously you've got to have the space, but it's well worth asking, I think, just in case. But then again, you may be local, so this is not going to apply to you, but I just thought I'd mention it. Okay, so when entering the room, you're going to get presented with this on your bed, and it's just going to be a welcome letter, all that kind of stuff, a bottle of bubbly in the fridge kind of thing, and your daily programme. So I'm just going to touch on this daily programme while I've got it up here now. You get this in your room every night when you come back from a show or something. The maid, or whatever you want to call them, the keeper of your room, I can't remember what they're called, the chalet girl or man or whatever, tidies up your room and all that for you, and leaves this on your bed, cut it up, chocolates, etc. And it gives you an idea. Now, if you haven't been on a ship before, if you have, you know all about what's in there. But it just gives you your daily program, you know, what activities are happening on board. Now, if it's a sea day, there's going to be a lot of activities. If it's not a sea day and people are going ashore, there's not going to be a lot of activities, because obviously people are about. There's not going to be many people on board to cater for. Most people get off, etc. So that's your activities. I'll show you a couple of highlights for me, which I like, but yeah, and all bits and pieces. You've got all your food. This is the food bit here. This is where your dining is. This may be just casual dining, or you may want to sit down in the Britannia and go and, you know, have your meal there. You may want to have a lunch there. You may want to have breakfast there. You may want to have your evening meal there, which we've done all the time. Had our evening meal in the Britannia. Now, sorry, my PC may make a little bit of noise. Sorry about that, but I just want to apologise. Yeah, so you have your evening meal. We had every evening meal in Britannia, but you can pay for extra. You can go in a little private kind of, like, you know, like a little private restaurant, shall we say. It's not got many seats, you know, just and it's a more intimate kind of thing, more romantic, shall we say, or if you're celebrating a birthday or something like that. And they do charge a money extra per person for that, and they're all listed down the bottom. But up here it tells you all the times they're open, all that kind of stuff. Times open for breakfast, dinner and lunch. So that's all in that program. I'm just going to show you a couple of highlights of my program actually that I did enjoy. I say I did enjoy it. One of them just showing you really what it was. Let's just make sure it's up there. Where are we? On my program. This one here just tells you what's happening. You'll see what's happening in different rooms, different times and all that. But a favourite of mine, because I do this hi-fi, vintage hi-fi channel. You want to check it out maybe. And I'm really honest about how stuff sounds, etc. Don't get swayed by anything or anything. This is quite a critical review actually. I'm doing this ship. I can be quite critical, so bear that in mind. You know, some people are a bit more relaxed, but I'm quite critical. That's why it's called a critical review. But this bloke here, Kenny Martin, love going to see him because I'm into all the live music, all that kind of stuff. Fantastic. So this was really, really enjoyable. It was a treat because I actually see him on the Queen Mary 2, and to see him again, it was fantastic. You know, I mean, they swapped all their bits about, I suppose. We were entertaining about between ships, but that was great. That was like one of the highlights for me on the cruise, like entertainment wise. Really enjoyed that. Talk about the entertainment as we go along a bit later on, but anyway, let's get on with it now. A lot of people want to know where all the plug sockets are. Like I say, they're all in that video at the end. They're going to be in there where they are in your cabin and what they are. Forgot to do the bathroom, so here's a little picture of the bathroom one, your normal shaver one, and all the sockets are 120 volts or 240 volts. So 120 volts American stroke Japanese, shall we say. I think Japanese actually 100 volts, but you're probably going to get away with it. 110 volts, you're probably going to get away with it if you're the Asian kind of supplier you use. But if you're American and that, and they've got the normal American round socket you push in kind of thing with the two prongs, you'll see that in the video anyway. They're 120 volts and the normal 230 volts, and you're going to get a 3-pin plug for anything here in the UK you're going to plug in. So that's all your sockets. You're going to see them at the end of the video. Now, one of the main little bit of a drawback, and we talked to people on the ship, and they said the storage wasn't great in these cabins. A lot of people complained about the storage. You'll see it in the video, quite narrow cabinets. Now, one of the drawbacks was, my missus didn't like it, a few other people didn't like it, is you've got shelving. You'll see it in the video, and rather than being as wide as your shirt, they're not as wide. So when you go to put your shirt in, they're kind of like that. They kind of sit like that. So that even though they're shelving, they're not great. You've got your life jackets in one bit, you'll see it. And at the bottom, where the safe, you've got life jackets at the top, safe in the middle, and there's a void at the bottom. You've actually got a bar there where you can hang stuff, but it's so low, when you hang stuff on it, it actually touches the floor. Even shirts touch the floor, so it's a bit pointless really. So maybe take your life jackets out and stick them in the bottom. We didn't do that. We forgot, you know, we kind of got by, but you could take your life jackets out, put them at the bottom, and it gives you that extra shelf there to put stuff on if you're really tight for room. But you've got stuff under the bed and all that to put the cases and stuff like that. But a little tip here that I thought, you know, is worth doing, and I picked up off of a few different people as well, is that this bar comes out, this bar will lift up, so you can take all them hangers off. I do show them in the video, and they're kind of these hangers that's got little clips on them, and they're quite thick, so imagine a few of them stacked up together, you can only get, what is it, about 8 in there. But if you took your own hangers, these like metal wire ones, you know the ones I mean, they're very, very small, very thin, aluminium metal wire. Lift this up, take all them hangers off, stick them in the bottom, in the void kind of thing, and put in all your own, put this bar back and stick your own hangers on it. You're going to get a lot more hangers in there, and you get, even though it's still not a room, you're going to get a few more items in there, because these are very bulky, and you can imagine if you get a few more in there, let's put it that way, in this and a few of the other cabinets around the room that you can use. So that's just an idea there. Someone else did mention wall magnets, hooks. You can get like a wall magnet hook and you just stick it, because all the cabin is made of metal, even though it's obviously got paper or whatever kind of decoration on the wall, a bit like, you know, whatever it is on the wall. underneath is metal. It's sort of all the ship's made out of metal. So if you've got a strong magnet with an hook on, you could put stuff around the room, but it may look a bit untidy. But I thought I'd mention it anyway. Another thing I haven't mentioned: suitcase dividers. Now, we knew nothing about these, never even heard of them, so someone gives us a tip on the ship that you can get these suitcase dividers off of Amazon, and this is what we'll do. It's like a little container, and you put all your shirts, say, in one, all your missus' negligee and whatever in the other kind of thing. It kind of keeps them apart, it keeps them all nice and neat. So you know what it's like when you pick up your coat, you've got it all nice and flat on the bed, and as soon as you pick it up, everything falls down the bottom. It's going to keep them from doing that, like, you know, they're going to be contained in it. And a good thing about these apparently is that once you get to the place or wherever you are, you literally just take it out of the case, and you can, if you've got a spare shelf so thickness, just push it on the shelf, and you've got all your shirts stacked up, all ready to go on your shelf in this container. It's also, all you've got to do is go through them in the order you want to use them, or flip through them, or take them off, obviously hang them up and all that. But they're convenient just to take out and put straight on a shelf, etc. They're all in nice line. It keeps them tidy. I don't think they're expensive. They're quite cheap, these dividers. Just something I thought I'd mention to you there. Now, I don't want to miss anything out. I don't want to get ahead of myself neither. What we've got here, we've got the laundry. We'll come to that in 1 second. I just want to mention that you're going to see the TV as I go around. It's about a 40-inch TV on your wall, dead opposite our bed it was. And that's got everything you need to know on it. It's got, first of all, it's got all the port information. Now, normally on these ships, before I've been on, you have a port presentation in the theatre. It tells you all about the port and all the different trips they're doing, all that kind of stuff. But it's actually on your TV in your room, so you can go and watch that and listen to that whenever you like. They're on for about 20 to 30 minutes each. Tells you the excursions they're doing, tells you all about the port, the setup, all that kind of stuff, which is great. That's great. Also, you've got some live TV channels, BBC One HD kind of things. Not actually live, I think it's a bit pre-recorded, that special stuff for the ship. But you've got live news channels and stuff like that. There's about 10 or 15 channels, but they're mainly made up of news, live channels on there. But they do show live football. Any live matches come up, like Arsenal v Someone was up there the other day, a few live matches all shown either there in your cabin, or you can go to the Golden Lion and watch them there live. So just, you know, any live football matches you're not going to miss out on, that's for certain. There's quite a few about on the cruise, that's for certain. And also, they do tons of films on the TV. You've got hundreds. There's over 100 films on there to choose from. They're all free. This is all free, by the way. Not paying for any of this. This is all free. And talking about free, I will be coming to how much this cruise actually cost us as well at the end, how much we spent, all that kind of stuff is going to be coming up. So we'll talk about that as we go along. So like I say, 40-inch TV there. I just want to mention that before I get on to now the laundry. Now, a lot of people want to know where the laundry is, because if you're on for a longer cruise, you want to be able to wash a few things and all that. This ship's got quite a few laundriettes, and not on every floor. There was on our floor, floor number 1, there's a laundriette, and if you get this, you'll see this, it's in your cabin, it's a little ship guide. Open this up and it'll tell you where all the laundriettes are on the ship. Now, my eyes isn't fantastic. I went and hunted a few out. I'm going to show you a few pictures of what they are. Self-service laundry facilities are on deck, just in case you want to book your cabin to be on the same deck as the laundry, so you haven't got to wander too far. They're on deck 1, 4, 7, 8 and 10, so that's where they all are, and there's a little map of the ship as well there for you, etc. But that's where all the laundries are. Now, I didn't go and visit them all. I went to 3 of them, and this is what's inside, hopefully, if I've got all this lined up. There's your laundry. Now, on the Queen Mary 2, they had 4 machines, 4 dryers, 4 washing machines. Here there's only 3 of each. Got your ironing board. And by the way, just while I've got these machines on, because the first time you use these, it's going to be a bit complicated, but just a little tip is that this control panel here does the dryer as well as the washing machine down below. The left hand side is for the machine, and the right hand side is for the dryer, just so you know which one you're pressing. It's a bit confusing first of all, but it's easy enough, it really is, once you get used to it. They supply these dryer sheets. These they're not dryer sheets, they're washing sheets. They're like washing powder on a sheet kind of thing. Mrs said they're pretty good, so, and she's even bought some after our first cruise. Yeah, so there hasn't got many more. She uses other stuff now, but they're okay. They do a good job apparently, and you can always put 1 or 2, put a couple in or something like that. And they're pretty good. They must be pretty good, because I hardly get any more in the suitcase, so they must be pretty good. So that's them there. Okay, now what we're going on to here. Now this is where the laundries are. This is where you are. It shows you where you are on the ship. And if you go, these deck plans are on near the lifts normally, on your level, and it'll show you where you are and where other stuff is on the ship. But there's a little laundry. It's a little picture of a washing machine, just to show you there. That's where the laundry is, so you can find it on your ship. Okay, what we're going to go on to now, Mick, now, what we're going to talk about now, just to make sure I don't miss anything, I've got a little note there as well, is that a couple of bits you may not know, but this is you've got your normal, like when you go into the Britannia, this is like for free dining. Get whatever you want, go up, they serve it to you. You don't pick it yourself, they serve it to you, which I kind of like, because you don't like people coughing over things and picking up something, putting it back on top of something else and all that, and taking too much. Got a plate that I only leave most of it, kind of thing. I like where they actually serve you. You can ask for as much as you want. You're not, don't say this is it, that's all you got, I'm serving. You've got one, you get as many portions as you want, but keep it realistic. And yeah, I like that kind of thing. So that's there. That's in the Britannia. Isn't in the Britannia, that's upstairs. The Britannia's, you think, sorry about it. It's upstairs in the kind of like I say, free help, not help yourself, but they kind of serve you dining, but it's behind the counter. You know what I mean anyway. But just outside that, this is on deck 9 by the way, just outside that is the kind of pool bar where the pool is and a few jacuzzis and all that kind of stuff. There's the Pavilion Grill. This is all free, by the way. This is all free. It's just in case you think that you're going to pay extra. Some people get mixed up a little bit, especially in the next one when I come up to the next one. And you can do different things, burgers here, hot dogs and other bits and sides and all that. It's all free, and I mainly lived on this, to be honest with you. For lunch, for the evening meal, I went to the Britannia and had a sit down proper meal, like where they come and serve you and all that kind of stuff, which was very nice. Yeah, the meal was very good. So that's that. Now there is a wellbeing bar, wellness cafe it's called, on deck 10, just above deck 9 obviously. And not many people, but we spoke to a few people and we said, oh, my missus goes here, the wellness bar, because she's gluten free. Now, by the way, the gluten free is on deck 9. Got a few rolls and slices of bread and a few cakes they kind of give out, and they do a little dish in that, but these go even further. There's a lot of gluten free here, so if you're gluten free, this is a place to check out. This is free. And the reason I say it's free is a lot of people thought you had to pay for this, because it looks upstairs, it looks quite nice and nice up there where it's all laid out and everything. He cooks it all fresh. You have to wait. It's not instant. You may have to wait 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. It's not that long, but he cooks it all fresh. And people think this, because it's got down here about, somewhere here it says about drinks, fizzy drinks, you may have to pay for them for certain ones. And they obviously think everything else, some people think everything else is chargeable. It's not. It's all free. Some great stuff up here, especially if you're gluten free. But if you're into wellness, you're looking after yourself kind of thing, this is the place to come. So not many people use this neither, so it's great. But that's that. Now we're going to wander on now. What we're going to wander on to now, the theatre. Okay, we're going to be a bit critical. This is a critical review. Talk to other people, other ships they've been on, etc. Especially in the Cunard range. So it's a bit of a comparison to that. And this is the theatre, which is a little bit disappointing when you compare it to the theatre on the Queen Mary, which had an upstairs. This hasn't got an upstairs, and a lot of people said this is like going to the cinema. It's kind of got that cinema kind of look to it. It hasn't got an upstairs to it neither, which we like to go upstairs and look down and all that kind of stuff. I think what's happened here, I'm guessing a bit, that this here is all rooms upstairs now, rather than having a big void, and old Cunard have put some extra rooms up there, because there's more passengers on this ship than there is, not many, but it's more passengers on this ship, if you can get on it kind of thing, than there is on the Queen Mary, even though the Queen Mary is a bigger ship. So I think they've kind of utilised a bit more space, trying to squeeze a few extra passengers in, because obviously these all cost money to run, all kind of stuff. So that's what I think's happened there. Yeah, so you haven't got an upstairs. Now, one thing about the theatre is, I just want to show you a couple of seats now. What we used to do, just a little tip here, mate, but you're not silly, you're going to work it out and you know these things yourself, but if you want to get out a bit lively, sit at the back, especially if you just show you're not too sure about, you can see it easy enough. There's no problem seeing it wherever you sit in this theatre. Apart from the front seats, they kind of like, this is all steps, as you can see. And these kind of go downwards until the last 4 seats, and they kind of go down, kind of creep back up again, kind of a little bit of a dip. Only small, but you'll see it when you go on there. I didn't really like them seats here. It's all right if you're at the front, but if you're not, if you're the second, third or fourth row, you're kind of like looking up and you're a bit tilted back and people's heads can get in your way kind of thing. But in these other seats, everything's fine. Yeah, just a little tip where to sit here. Now, one other thing I will say before I show you that is get there early. When I say early, get here at 7:30. The show's at 8 o'clock, get here at 7:30. It may sound a long time to sit there. On the first couple of days, you're going to get in easy at 10, 5 minutes to and all that. You'll get a seat, no problem at all. But in days to come, people will suss out people getting there early and it'll start filling up. Now, one thing, we had an insight speech. Now, these insights are like little things they do. They talk about airplanes, they talk about previous ships, they talk about all different things. Now, we had Kevin McLeod come on off of Grand Designs, well known obviously and everything. I did have a chance to speak to Kevin, talked a lot of rubbish to him probably, but anyway, I did have a little chat with Kevin. He come along, and his one was absolutely packed out because he's well known. Everyone wanted to get in there. So if you're going to go and see one of these insights, there's a well known person like Kevin. you want to get in there nice and early because you're not going to get a seat. It was the stage where people, they're not posted because these are all gangways, but people were standing in the gangways and everything to see him because he only had one. And obviously he's very, very popular. So it depends on some of the shows coming up. You may want to get in there a bit early, like say get in about 7:30, maybe 20 to 8 at the latest to guarantee a seat. You may be lucky afterwards. I'm not saying you're not going to get one, but a couple of seats you may be interested in here. Like I say, we normally sit at the back. So not normally, sometimes if it's a show I want to go and see, we grab these seats here because these seats here are down an aisle. And when this is the stage here in front of me, and it's a complete unrestricted view of the stage. Even though you're a little way back, it's fantastic. You can strict on this complete row here, on that row these seats are on, you can put your legs out as far as you want. No problem if you're long like me, long and skinny and an idiot like me, you can kind of put your feet right out, sit back and relax, no problem at all. And you can do that on every single one of them seats, but you've got 3 here and 3 here that are unrestricted. But no one susses it out straight away. But a few days into the voyage, you'll see these 3 seats up straight away because the people realise that they're probably the best 3 seats in the house. They just want to sit up front or something, etc. But they're great seats in. So that's that. That's the theatre. Now, like I say, people criticised that a little bit, saying it was like a cinema. Queen's Room. Now, this is the next criticised from maybe me as well, or is from me. I wasn't too fussed about the cinema, to be honest with you. It was okay, got our seat, etc. But this is a one that we talked to people, and I was a little bit disappointed was the Queen's Room, because the Queen's Room on the Queen Mary 2 was a kind of square, big place, square. The stage was big. The dance, not that I'll get up and dance in a million years, but the dance floor was nice and big. And I think this was the same or similar because the Victoria, the Cunard Victoria ships, everyone we spoke to loved that ship. We haven't been on that yet, so it sounds really good, that ship, and they're kind of saying this is a lot smaller to that as well. So I'm only taking their word for that. But everyone we spoke to about Victoria loved that ship, just what we mentioned there. It's a kind of, I'll show you a few more pictures, it's kind of a rounded, weirdish shaped kind of, where are we, thing. So if you are, here we go, if you're dancing, you can see it's like a moon, like a eclipse of the moon kind of thing. And people were saying to dance on it, you have to keep going round and round, and I did watch them, most of them go round and round in circles kind of thing, which is a bit annoying because obviously people want to go backwards and forwards, and it's just not big enough apparently. Like I say, I'm no expert, I don't dance or anything like that, so I wouldn't know. It's big enough for me because I don't dance. That big is big enough for me. But there you go, so that's that. Now, the views in here ain't great neither. If you haven't got one of these front seats, by the way, this is on 2 decks, by the way, upstairs. We'll come upstairs in a minute. But if you haven't got one of these like frontish seats here, because people start standing in your way a bit on this particular side here, but if you haven't got one of these front tables here and you're right towards them, you can, with everyone in the way kind of thing, you can miss out what's happening kind of thing. So that it could have been done a bit better, I think, a bit more space, etc. could have been done here. Now, we're going to show you, this is a picture from upstairs actually. You'll see this is the upstairs. It's got like a hole here where the downstairs is there, and this is the upstairs here. This is with no one on. I'm just going to show you a picture. I used to go and watch this every single night as well. This is another favourite of mine. Some live music. This Queen's Theatre group or whatever. I thought they were great. I do like the live music. You know what I mean? That sound of the live music, that drum and everything else. Fantastic, especially doing the old highway. This was for me, and it can get quite packed here. People watching, not always, but it can get quite packed. So I used to have to get here a bit early. Shoot out from watching that presentation at the theatre. Usually finishes about 8:45, so I was out like a dart because this was 8:45, trying to grab my seat, and I'm always going upstairs if I could to look down. I weren't too worried about the people dancing, but it's good to see them obviously, but I weren't too fast. I just wanted to see the group. So this is upstairs, like I say. Now they did do an act. They do an act where a girl comes down, or a couple of girls, and does like a bit like Cirque du Soleil, or whatever it's called. You know the one I'm on about. She comes up and does all her acrobatics up in the air and backwards and forwards from the ground to the air, all that on a string, as it's on a metal cable, etc. But when you're downstairs, it's lovely. If you're at the front, you probably can see it all. If you're a little bit further back from the front, now you've got a roof in front of you. So when she disappears upstairs, well, that's it. She disappears. You can't see nothing. And when she's downstairs, if you're not really leaning forward, it's hard to see what she's doing when she's downstairs. So if you're a few seats back, now this is at the front, don't forget, if we just go to the next picture, this is how it's set out. 2 lines here, so you've got people sitting here and people sitting there, and it don't take a lot of working out, you're on the same level. People here can see across the table, can't really see a lot. Best to get these front seats, which is not a lot. You can see from a second, but it can be like you've got to sit right forward kind of thing. So the viewing ain't great. This is the front seat viewing, like I say. So when she disappears, you probably just see her kind of thing if you're watching this acrobat. Here's okay, you can see the group, you've got to be sitting at these front seats. You've still got this kind of pattern in the window, so it's cutting off some of the people that are dancing if you wanted to watch them. But now when you go to the back seats, as you can see, once that girl disappears down there, you're not going to see her. And also, you've got more things in your way. I mean, you've got to get this seat here. You can't get this seat here because someone's sitting in front of you. And this puffy's kind of free roaming. There's a few of them. So as soon as you get a seat here, you think, I'm okay, I can see everything. Someone comes along, moves this puffy and sits right in front of you, and now you can't see nothing. So a little bit annoying, not well thought out, I don't think. I suppose they've got to squeeze in as much as possible there. But a lot of complaints about the Queen's Room, and you know, I can see the point in that. You've got to get there early. If you don't, you can kind of miss out. So it kind of is not engaging when you're at the back out the way and you can't see nothing. The engagement goes and you kind of wander off. Okay, now to the Golden Lion. This is a little bit bigger. It's a reasonable bit bigger. Oops, sorry about that. I knocked the old camera up. A reasonable bit bigger than it is on the Queen Mary too. So this is a place around. We do like doing a few quizzes. It's hard to see it all here, but it's quite big there. It goes around the corner here and down here as well. Can't see it all, so it's quite big, that pub. So that's the Queen 9 in case you wanted that. Now what's happened here? This is the games room. This is on deck 1. Nice to sit down, relax, play a game of Scrabble, cards, etc. That's quite. Get busy in there. They used to have a little, we had a little violin concerto kind of thing going on here as well. Okay, now into this next room. This is the Bright Lights room. I think that's what it's called, something like that. It's dead opposite the Golden Lion. You'll see it's got these LEDs in the mirrors kind of thing, kind of giving this kind of distance pattern kind of thing. In here, they do a few different things on this particular show. I can't remember all 3 of them, to be honest with you. One of them was called Fizz, and one of them was called Noir. Now, because we went to the main theatre, this kind of overlaps a little bit, because we like going to bed not too late. And if you don't mind going to bed a bit later, you can squeeze all 3 shows. They do 3 shows here. Like I say, one's Noir, one's Fizz, and I forgot the other one. I won't spoil it too much for you. I'm just going to talk about the one we went and watched, was Noir. And apparently, going by listening to a few people, this was the best of the 3 kind of thing. I'm not saying the others are no good or anything like that, don't get me wrong. This is the best of the 3. People seem to enjoy this a little bit more than the others, but I think this is enjoyable. This is good. Now, the stage is here. It's quite a small room. It's not very big. It's quite small. There's some more chairs over here somewhere as well, seats along here. But it's not very big, so I'm not too sure how many people, probably about 50 people. So I'm guessing a little bit, something like that, 50, 60 people, something like that gets in there. And they put a show on. It's right in front of you on this stage. Now, I don't give too many secrets away here what's happening there, but it is fun. This Noir's funny, very well done, and the cast and that was brilliant. They really were. They're really, really good, and a lot of ad-libbing and a lot of improvisation, quite a bit of improvisation as well, which was great. It was really good. They've done a good show. If you're sitting at the front here, it's kind of an involvement. You get involved kind of thing. They need to pick up a few volunteers. I don't give too much away, but they get you on stage to do stuff. Don't worry too much. Now, I do a bit of. I did used to do a bit of extra work, but to come, you know, that's kind of like, you know what you're doing, you get told what to do and all that kind of stuff. Here, it's like you've got to do it on the fly. You're not getting told, and you kind of put yourself in a bit of an embarrassing situation. But everyone's behind you, seriously, everyone's behind you. Everyone went up there, and we had 4 great people. They've done a great show, seriously. Picked 4 people out of the audience. You kind of, they don't force you on there. They kind of come around and ask you, oh, you wouldn't go forward. If you want a bit of a laugh, it was funny. I laughed. This is funny. Noir was very good. It kind of like, they do little things on the stage and that. It's all scripted kind of thing. They give you what to read and what to do. So don't panic. You haven't got to come up with anything yourself. That's one great thing. Didn't realise that at the time, but you've got to kind of act it out as well. Just a little bit of a clue there. But yeah, great little show, and it can go on. I don't know how long it went on for actually. It's hard to say. I can't remember. It seemed to go on for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour or something like that. But it's very enjoyable, so I really recommend you go and see one of these shows. Like the other 2, I like to say, I'm not too sure what they're about, but this was people seem to like this one the most, but it depends on your kind of taste, I suppose. I should have went and seen the other 2, let's put it that way. But there you go. So that's a little thing in the Bright Lights room. I think it's called Noir. And this is highly rated apparently. So yeah, I'll definitely recommend you go and have a look at one of them. It obviously depends who they're going to get up, how good your show is, I suppose. But a few people want to see it twice. There you go. So that's that. Now this, I always get this name mixed up. My missus is going to go mad. Is it the Katrina Renown, something like that? This is it here. It's quite small when we compare it to the Queen Mary, and not a lot happening here really. Not a lot happens in this room. Where the Queen Mary, they used to have a band in there. They used to have a few quizzes going on there. There's a bit more, seems to be a bit more happening in here than there is on this ship. So that was a little bit. That was a disappointment, I'll say, for me. Okay, this is where the lifts are situated. Just a little picture of the lifts, and you've got 2 lifts in each side here, so that's 4 in total. one stack in the middle kind of thing, one at one end at the front, one at the back. You can wait a little bit long sometimes for these lifts. I say long, maybe just a bit longer than you want to, maybe when you're a bit impatient, but you know what lifts are like, kind of thing. But I just mentioned that. I'm sure on the other ship they had 6 lifts, 3 each side in each position. I'm not 100% certain, but like I say, there's 4 lifts here, and at busy periods you can wait a little bit longer. So we did use the stairs quite a bit. This is the main lobby, this is the main part of the ship, the main kind of main lobby kind of presentation kind of thing, you know, the main entrance, like the big grand kind of lobby kind of thing. And it's not quite as grand as maybe on some other ships, and on the Queen Mary 2 and that kind of thing. So a few people were a little bit disappointed with the main lobby, but it was okay. We didn't really spend a lot of time there anyway. This is a drinks machine, just a little tip here. A drinks machine, when you go upstairs, they serve you drinks, as you probably know. You get orange, pineapple juice, grapefruit juice and lemonade, all free. This is all free. And your teas and coffees you make yourself, these are all free. But if you're going to make, this is for the coffee, this machine will be for the coffee, just a little tip, because it does do hot water, but it's not quite as hot as the hot water in this little device here next to it, which says hot water. And the little thing on there, if it hasn't been used for a few minutes, this, it can get cold, so you can do yourself a tea, press that button, there's 2 buttons there, both hot water, press either one, and you can press it and it comes out lukewarm. So what I did was press the button, let the water come down for a while so you can see some steam coming out, then plonk your cup underneath. You're going to get a nice hot cup of tea. Otherwise this could come out lukewarm because it's been standing still and that water's still in the pipe, it's cooled down, all that kind of stuff. Now the very last thing I want to show you, I'm going to talk about a couple more things very quickly, and that's going to be the video, is that you get on board credit, and we had $400 on board credit. Just going to show you what we use, not all of it, just telling you what we use on this 19-day cruise, give you an idea of maybe what you're going to spend if you're doing it first time. If you've been on a cruise before, you know exactly how much you're going to spend probably. But we did do an excursion, one excursion which is separate to this, and that was when we was in Cadets. We went to Seville. On second thoughts, it's probably not a trip we'll do again, because it was an hour and a half getting there, and a half getting back. And when we got to Cadets, we thought this looks quite nice here. It's our kind of things we like, cobbled streets, narrow cobbled streets, and all nooks and crannies. We like all that kind of stuff. And on second thoughts, we like Cadets. I think what I say we would have preferred to stay in Cadets. But we had 400, and we managed to pretty much use it all up. This $25 here, you see total charges, this $25 is separate, doesn't come off your onboard credit if you're paying bingo, and the wife does like a little game of bingo, and these are the bingo markers, 2 of them we bought, $2 each. So if you do use bingo, it doesn't come out your onboard credit. But if you go to the spa or buy anything in the shop and all that kind of stuff, it comes off your onboard credit. Now we just had a cup of chocolate, some Cokes and all that every day. I'm not saying every day we bought some, but most days we bought a chocolate or Coke. And we got through the whole trip, and I think we owed them in total. We don't actually say here, but we used our credit, as you can see here. It says we're still, well actually it says we're still $9.70 in credit, but there's a couple of days to go. And I think at the end of it we owed them about $50, $47, $50 I think, and that was just say Cokes, etc. Kind of thing. We never, the wife does have an odd cocktail here and there. She had a few cocktails here and there, and even had a Pernod, which she likes. I don't always see that. A few Pernods as well, but not great drinkers. I don't drink anything else but a couple of, maybe a Coke at lunchtime and maybe a Coke later on. Now the Cokes I think were about $4.50, and I think the cocktails in that range from about $11 to about $15, something like that. So just bearing that in mind, and there is a service charge on that as well. It's a little, not a lot, but a little bit of a service charge on them. So that was it. So we didn't really spend a lot. And going into port, we didn't really spend a lot there. Just bought a few fridge magnets, a few little presents here and there. To be honest with you, the old cruise, you know, including this money, this is kind of free money. We spent that, owed them about $50, I think. And what we spent in euro wise, I think we wrapped everything up for about 200 quid, around about 200 quid, and that was everything, presents and bits and pieces, imports and everything. So you don't spend a lot. When you go on these cruises, you do not spend a lot actual physically money really, like I say, especially if you've got some onboard credit. If you haven't got onboard credit, then obviously it's an extra $400 we would have spent. But when you book up most of these kind of trips, you do get some onboard credit to help you out. Now, if I make sure I've not missed anything. Now, one other thing people did moan about a little bit was the promenade deck. This is like a deck around a ship, but you can sit down normally. You've got benches on it, you can sit down, look out at the sea going by. Well, on this particular ship, you pretty much can't do that, because when you sit down on a seat, you're going to look at a lifeboat in front of you. So the promenade deck was a little bit disappointed on here. Oh, one thing I did mention actually is in the cinema. Just see the food here. The food here was very good on the ship. The food was fantastic. Liked all the food and everything. You get quite a bit to choose from when you go in the Britannia bar for your evening meal or breakfast or lunchtime. But one thing about the cinema I didn't mention is that you can take drinks in there, but there's nowhere to put a drink. All these seats are packed up, and I'm probably going to put a subtitle up anyway, but there's nowhere to put your drinks. So I was a bit disappointed. In others we've been in, there's always a table or something to put your drinks so you can sit back, relax with a drink. In here, it's awkward. You're going to have to hold it or put it under near your feet, and hopefully no one knocks it over. And then the onboard entertainment now. The onboard entertainment was pretty good, yeah. I would say it's just a little bit, not quite as good as it was on the Queen Mary, but I like the sax player there, as you know, I mentioned earlier. But overall, it was pretty good. The entertainment was pretty good all round. Like I say, that Bright Lights room is definitely worth a visit, I think. And that's it. I did speak to quite a few other people, as I said beginning of the video. I want to come to our rank it myself as well. Speak to a lot of other people, been on other ships, like say Victoria, sent a good thumbs up with everyone we spoke to. No one had a bad word about that ship. But on the whole, like, obviously we didn't speak to many. I would have said we spoke to about 20 to 30 people, and they was a little bit disappointed. One other thing I want to mention as well, but they was a little bit disappointed. So that's that. But then again, I could have talked to another 30 people, and they could have been really liked it. So I'm only going to give you my opinion of what I thought of it. I did speak to one person that kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit, saying that it was good. He liked it was good, but there was just something missing. And this is how he summed it up. The very last person I spoke to, actually, and I thought, after one of those people I spoke to, he's kind of hit the nail on the head. I thought pretty much the same. It was good, but just something missing. Now, this ship is only 4 or 5 months old, and yet, unlike my amplifiers that are 50 years old, seem to withstand anything. Obviously, you've got people going around touching things, moving things, leaning against things, but noticed a couple of the handrails were missing from the lift where they'd fallen off, and a few of them were wobbling about. I went in the toilet, and one of these wall things, the kind of peeling, the thing they put over it to cover up the metal, was peeling off a bit. So yeah, the ship was, like, even though it's 4 or 5 months old, started to get a bit worn, shall we say. So yeah, I was surprised really, but there you go. So that's it. But that's what it's all about, I suppose. People using stuff and everything. Things are going to wear out, and maybe things ain't made as good as they were many years ago. They're made a little bit cheaper these days. I don't know. So that's it. So what do I actually think of it? Well, all overall, not taking into consideration what other people have told me, my actual voyage, my actual trip, my actual all the entertainment, everything else, I'll give this a solid 4. Pretty much like I did the other Cunard, the Queen Mary. I'll give that a 4 at the time, but I probably should have mentioned the word solid. This is a solid 4. I think I mentioned in that video also, would I go on this ship again? I think I would go on this ship again, but the time we went on it this time is that we went on it because it was a new ship and we wanted to see what it was all about, and it was maybe overhyped as well. You get all these adverts in the papers, all the television commercials, all that kind of stuff, and they kind of overhype something. You get there expecting unbelievable stuff, and you kind of then suddenly disappointed. So that's, I think it's maybe a bit overhyped, this ship, but yeah, we enjoyed it, everything like that. It was a good ship. Would I go on again? Like I say, I would if it was going to the ports. Like I say, this time we went on because of the ship. But next time we'll go on it because we want to go to them Pacific ports. These weren't ports we were specifically wanted to go to, even though I wanted to go and see Croatia. These weren't ports that was in mind. So if it went to a port that I desperately wanted to go to, these are the kind of artillery I really want, then I would go on this ship again, yes, definitely. But there is other artilleries and other ships I want to go on, I think. So for the time being, probably come back to it at a later date maybe, but the time being, yeah, like I say, this is a solid 4. We enjoyed our cruise. But I think I enjoyed the Cunard's Queen Mary just a little bit better than this, and everything was bigger. So out of the 2 ships, I'd give the vote to the Queen Mary too. But like I say, listening to people, the Victoria gets some great responses. When people I spoke to, they seem to think that ship was fantastic. So that's it. I think I've wrapped it all up hopefully in this video. So I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Okay, this is the Cunard space. Just thought I'd show you the Cunard space. That's our entrance, that's the door right in front of you, and we've got 3 Cunards here on the left hand side as you see it. Numbers 1, 2 and 3. So if I open up the first one, just to give you an idea what's in there and how big it is, should I say. You've got a mirror on the door there. Now these shelves are quite narrow, they're not very long, these shelves, as you can see, but you can stack a few things up. But it's not a thing for a shirt or anything like that, or a jumper. If you've got it folded, they would come out a little bit further, a little bit wider than the actual shelf, if you know what I mean. But you can get trousers and bits and pieces in there like we have. You've got a very thin part here, as you can see, to hang a few jackets, shirts, etc. I'll give you a little tip with the hangers in a minute. I'll go over to bed and show you that, so you can maybe squeeze 1 or 2 more garments in there. But that's that one cupboard. So that's cupboard number 1. We come to cupboard number 2. We've got our life jackets at the top. I've stuck a few of my t-shirts and jeans there. You've got your safe, and down the bottom you've got room for maybe some wet jackets, or the jackets that keep you dry in the wet, shall I say, your shoes to stick them in the bottom, etc. Other bits and pieces like that. So that's that cupboard. Well, that is quite a wider cupboard, as you can see there, quite a wider one. And we come to our third cupboard. This is where, hopefully you can see, I'm going to have to open this door here a little bit to get a bit of light here. This here has got all my jackets, etc. in. It's a reasonably wide cupboard. I'm going to give you a little tip maybe with them coat hangers. I managed to turn the light off at the same time. And down the bottom you get the complimentary dressing gowns and slippers. But you can get a few bits and pieces in that cupboard there. So that's the third cupboard. If you come into that shadow room, do excuse the mess. I'll show you that telly in a minute, but we're talking about cupboards. You've got this very thin cupboard next to the bed here. You can't really get a lot. It's a finished one again. It's just a few items you can probably get in there. It's a long cabinet, but it's a bit thin. So that's all your storage space, apart from underneath the bed. Obviously, I'll just bring you to the bed. Underneath there, you can stick your suitcases, etc. underneath the bed. Now, the little tip I'm going to give you, I'm going to demonstrate hopefully with these 2 hangers here, is as you can see, the hangers they supply, some have got nothing on the bottom, just a grip, and some have got these kind of like where you hang your trousers from. These move across, etc. Where you hang your trousers. Now, when you put these in, they start hitting each other, these clips, and you can't get so many across. But if you kind of get rid of those ones and maybe use more of these ones, then you can stack up a few extra ones in them narrow cabinets. So that's the storage space. Okay, this is my cabin. Okay, this is our cabin. If I just show you the storage units are here, which I want to show you inside. I've shown you inside. If we just turn over to the left here, this is our bathroom. We just come in the room a bit to the bed and swing round, and then we'll turn back into the bathroom. And this is our bathroom. The sink, makeup mirror, etc. The old bog, and the shower there, as you can see, all nicely done. So that's very nice. So we shut that door, go forward. As you can see, our bed, if we swing round, there's a cabinet there for some storage, as I said, and there's the bed itself. We go over to the other side. On the other side of the bed, we've got a table each side of the bed, a little lamp, etc. A little place to sit, a little table. We've got a window, a sea view, so there's our sea view outside. We swing round and we've got our little table to make a cup of tea, sit down, read, do bits and pieces on, etc. Our fridge is just down below there. So if I just open it up, there you go, there's our fridge down there. Got our coffee facilities here. They do supply a kettle, and also in the drawer we have an air dryer in there as well, as you can see. So they do supply the tea making unit, a kettle kettle, and here's our plug sockets here. If I just go over the plug sockets, just want to show you these now. I've got my charger kind of thing. It's a 4-way split adapter that does 4 USBs at once. Quite handy actually, and that's just plugged into a normal British 13 amp socket, as you can see there. Next to it there's an American socket there. I'm not too sure if that's 240 volts or if it's actually 110, etc. So you may have to look that up yourself, but I should imagine if it's got that plug, it's probably down to the American system. We just come over the other side, hidden behind all this paraphernalia and kettle is another socket here. And as you can see now, I'm not too sure, I think that's maybe something like a Japanese kind of socket, that kind of thing now. We've got our light here, and we've got a 2.4 amp 5 volt USB-C as well as normal USB there. So that's on that particular unit there. And there is some other sockets in the apartment, cabin, whatever you want to call it. We spin round to the bed. On one side of the bed we come down here, and as you can see we've got them USB sockets again there, USB normal, USB-C, and back to that. That's kind of 2-pin socket that they use, them flat ones that they kind of use in Japan, etc. There. So if we come over to the other side of the bed, for the English people, there's another plug here. And one good thing about this plug is it's quite a long distance away from the wall as well, so you can plug in a weird shape adapter quite easily in there, I would have thought. No problems at all, in case you've got one of these things that kind of battery charges. It's kind of here, comes down the bottom here somewhere where you put your battery into charge, that kind of thing. That'll go in there nicely. Again, another USB-C, another USB, normal USB there, and back to our, it may well be American, but I'm normally associated that with places like Japan. When I used to get games consoles years ago, they used to come with that kind of adapter, that kind of plug socket. So there you go, that's around the room and the sockets.